came to me when Christina was saying that was the word sacrifice and victimization, because we can so easily go into those patterns when we don't take care of ourselves first.
My partner, he was out of the home, and I'm often home with Hunter. And it becomes my existence is being a mom and working on the computer. And in your head, that's when the back chat starts, the blame, like, well, he gets to do what he wants, but I don't get to do what I want. And, I was getting myself all upset. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on here. Why am I upset? Really? Okay, so he's doing something I want to be doing. That's all it is. What is it that I want to be doing? I'd like to go over and hang out with my friend. And so I'm like, okay. I made that decision in that moment. Well, after I'm done doing what I'm doing, I'm going to go hang out with my friend for a couple hours. That's all it took. Of taking care of what's important to you, and it just stops.
I can see that also in relation sometimes with house chores, and there was this moment where like, why am I always doing this? And he's not had to stop for a moment because the back chat was being so overwhelming. It's really helpful, like, to just take a moment and then ask myself, but what do I really have to do next? It's like, it's okay, I have time. I don't have to put that pressure on me. I'm gonna do this, and after that I'm gonna maybe just hang out with my son. That's what I want to do next, or just read a book or find something enjoyable, but without blaming him that he should be doing that. Because I mean, it's okay if I might ask him like, well, let's share things. That's fair. But when I am deciding to do something and then that back chat comes up, it's like, no, I'm sabotaging this moment, which can be so cool. Like, and then after that moment, it becomes a point of self-enjoyment. And I really did good. Like, I was really pleased at the end with how clean our room was. But until that moment, there was this initial point of blame, becoming aware of that conversation, not feeding it, and just like, okay, I'll stop, take a deep breath, and I ask myself, okay, what would I like to do? And then I'll find a solution. And we can be so creative. I mean, I think we're so creative if we're given the chances to do that. As you said, we like to nurture everybody else. And if we can do that for everybody else, we sure can do that for ourselves as well. We just need to create that time and think of us. And we can find it. We can find that in the middle of all the things we have to do.
Absolutely. And I think blame too is always a really clear indicator that you're not taking responsibility for something. And so, if I'm blaming my partner for anything, I sure know that there's something I'm not taking responsibility for, which is an act of empowerment. Because if I'm blaming, I'm victimizing myself. If we can just switch that to empower ourselves, and it's the same thing too. If we blame the love of our life is not adding their part to, this little creation that we have, if we're blaming, then that is also indicating something we haven't taken responsibility for ourselves. If we need our partner to do something, I need him to tell me this, and I need him to validate something for me, and I need him to, tell me that everything's okay and he's not going to leave, and we're good. If I need those things and I'm blaming him for not doing that, then that is clearly telling me that I haven't done that for myself. And I found we never talked about love. Love wasn't the point for us. We were interested in creating a life commitment of walking together and supporting each other to change ourselves, ultimately, was the point. And so love was never really a part of the equation. I've already shown it in my actions, and he's shown it in his actions. I don't need him to tell me ever he loves me, because I can see it in how he acts. Love has come up more now than it has ever before, and to me that's because I see love in action. Like the ability to walk with someone as your equal, as a partner. Like, I can work with this person. We can make decisions together. We can work together. That is really, like, that's the good stuff. That's where love becomes that point of, it can overcome anything. Any challenge can be addressed and walked through with that point of love when it's established as two individuals walking together as one.
Yeah, it helps when you share similar points that are important to each other. When you have that established, that we share this in common, this is what's important to us, and this is what we stand for. I'm not sure if you've tried this or not. Have you tried saying "I love you" to yourself? I remember the first time I did it, I was like, "Ooh, that's a creepy feeling." Like, wow, I've never said that to myself before in that way. And then once you say "I love you" to yourself, it starts to become easier.
Yeah.
To say it to someone else. And I'm not sure about how others do it, but when I say "I love you," I take it all part of me and express it.
Yeah.
And that way, I love you. It has me in it.
Yeah.
When I say it, because at first I was completely resistant to telling anyone I love them, because to me, for a long period of time, I saw that as love is a very evil thing, and having all these judgments based on what I was seeing in other people and how they lived love, and I'm like, no love. But when it became an expression of me communicating my appreciation, my gratefulness, my joy of the partnership and who they are, it's enjoyable to say it and to express myself in that way.
I never verbalized "I love you," but for a long time to me, it's a point of me loving myself, as I would daily give myself self-hugs. And it was a point of like, I got me, I'm here for me, like, I'm here, I got you, you know? And to me, that was definitely the beginning of healing that self-love, of realizing that, man, I am pretty amazing, and I have a lot to know about myself, and I have a lot to give. And as women, we are givers. You know, we want to give naturally, but I think that, man, if we can just first harness that giving inside ourselves with forgiving ourselves, you know, like, then that's really when that stuff will come out that's life-changing for others. You know, when we're able to stand as that point of love. I am love, and I have love to give. You know, like you mentioned, that's such a cool practice.
And I loved your expression, Carrie, when you were talking about it. It was so cool, like within you, like the way you were saying, "I'll give it a go." Because I haven't done that either. What sometimes I go into a point of like feeling grateful for myself is when I do something that I'm even just having time for myself, like creating that little time. Or now with our baby, there are moments where I just need to rest a little bit more, and Joe just takes the baby, and that's a way of his expressing, like, you now take your time, rest a little bit. Those are expressions of us caring for each other, and the other way around as well. So sometimes sometimes even when these days I hug my baby, is if I am hugging myself, like I'm creating this baby, and Joe as well, like we're together, but it's the point of us recognizing what I'm doing and who I am as a mom, for example. So that's another point of how these days I'm experiencing love, and it has so much to do with myself. And I am so grateful that I'm a mom before I'm walking our process, Destiny I process, for over 10 years now, because it makes such a big difference. At least I don't know how it was before, but for everything that I'm experiencing right now, and this point of like self-stability, it's been so great. Where I'm connecting with, I'm with my son, but I'm with myself. There is not that disconnection of putting a mask, like I'm a mom, I'm Joanna, I'm whatever. No, it's me. That has been now this new expression within me of manifesting love for another, because I am doing that for me. And I know this is a bit of a cliche, but it is. If I'm not okay with myself, I'm not able to be okay with my partner, but essentially with my son, because he doesn't have any. I'm like the only example. Well, me and Joe, but we are the only example that he has. So that has been a really cool, also reference for me, to be aware of, when I'm a bit tired, how that reflects on my mood, and how I need to really get back to myself. And I will remember the love you point, but like, yes, the hugging myself and giving just a time, or writing something just to put my shit together again. And that's at the point that I'm also experiencing that point of self-love.
Women in Love is not only with partnerships, it's not only with the person we're in love with, it's also with our children, and it's with our family, and it's with our animals. Obviously, a mother's in love with their newborn, and so how was that experience for you, and then kind of moving into understanding how to live love more practically?
Well, I actually have 2 children. My oldest is 29.
Right.
So I've already been down that road once before. But for me, what I found is that my child supported me to understand love. Because to me, relationships in my younger years were like, throw them away, throw them away, throw them away. The child, I had a completely different relationship with, where it was unconditional. Even, when they made mistakes, I would be right there, protecting them from the world, from the mistakes they were making, to make sure that they didn't develop a negative self-image of themselves. If anything, my mother calls me a helicopter mother. There's something about the children with me. Children always come first, above everything else. I take the job very seriously. Emily's doing awesome, my first child. She went through public school. She's working at a bank. She has some anxiety issues and everything now that we're working on together. Hunter came along when she was graduating from high school. It was a surprise. So still at that time, I had these grandiose ideas of how things were going to be. I mean, I was older. I had more money. I had already been down that road. I already realized my mistakes along the way, and I saw this as an awesome opportunity to fix them. But that's a lot of work to give yourself, one person. And for me, it just got to the point of almost a mental and emotional, physical breakdown of just giving too much. And definitely for me, they're going into victimization. In reality, I was about to just pretty much repeat the mistakes I had made before, just because I didn't have the tools to get to where I wanted to be. I just slowly learned how to deal with the victimization points that were coming up, the blame points that were coming up, my guilt that I was just constantly dealing with because I wasn't being the parent that I wanted to be. Because again, it was just like my relationships, it was based on this idea of what the perfect parent does. So the first point for me was realizing, just coming to terms with the fact there's no perfect parent. They just don't exist. And that was quite a few years back, and just being self-honest about that point for me was the beginning of becoming a better parent. And the way it has developed for me is, this time around as a parent, I'm less of a helicopter. I'm interested in seeing the person he becomes without me constantly meddling in what it is that he's interested in, just allowing him to decide where he wants to go. He's homeschooled. So we're very fortunate. I know a lot of parents want to be able to do that, and we're actually in the fortunate position where we can. We're here as equals. I don't see him as being the child that I need to be protecting and taking care of, and I see him as another being that's developing into who he's going to be his way. So yeah, we talk a lot. There's a lot of communication and questions. We ask each other the questions a lot. And I'll often go to him and say, you know what, I've got this going on in my life. I'm thinking about doing this, or I could do this. What do you think I should do? And he really likes being an active participant in my decision-making processes. So that's where it stands with that one. He's not really my possession or something that I need to hold close to me. He's just his own person developing. Once we got into the baby phase, it was just a rocket from there with his own self-development.
No, I don't have children, but I have animals, and I love my animals. They are just, something that I have that live with me that I can care for. And I find it's good that I don't have any children, because my love sometimes translates to, do you feel this bump? Is this bump normal? Is this supposed to be here? What is this? Why are they breathing like that? Are they okay? Like, there's this real fear of something going wrong. We just got a puppy, and I think almost every day, like, what if she were to die? Like, what if she were to die in my care? So it's like this love translates into a fear, actually, of losing this person that I'm responsible for, or this being that I'm responsible for. Is that something you guys can relate to at all with of love? Where it's like actually a fear, like you love so much, you actually fear losing it.
Yeah, and with my cat, I see that's often linked to the money system.